All right, so welcome to Mindset Pitfalls Holiday Edition, Part 5. I'm Certified Health Coach Jessee Baldwin.
And I'm Certified Health Coach Mikaela O'Brien.
Although we're health coaches, we are in no way affiliated with or represent the Beck Institute or the Diet Trap Solution. So quick recap. Last week, we learned all about emotional eating and how family members can sometimes derail us and strategies to combat that. Well, tonight, we got another treat for you. What are we going to go over tonight, Mikaela?
So for tonight, we are going to be talking about traveling and eating out traps, and we're going to be talking about psychological traps. So both of these are really good. First one is it's good timing since a lot of you guys are traveling for holidays, vacations, we're eating out a lot. So this is a really good one to be covering right now during December. And then psychological traps, everyone deals with. So this is the mindset stuff we're going to be talking about. And so I'm really excited to talk a little bit about both of these. And then we have Inspiration Corner. And we are going to be talking with Abby Horowitz. She's going to be sharing a little bit more about her story tonight. And so I'm really excited to bring her on and to let her share in just a little bit. So the book that we're going through is called The Diet Trap Solution. If you have not bought this book yet on Amazon, we would love for you to do that so you can follow along with us. And if you have not taken the quiz on page 19, I'll say this every week, take that quiz so you know which traps are the ones that you really struggle with.
Okay, so this is what we've been covering every single week, how to create an escape plan. We're not going to rehash it tonight. So if you're watching the recording for the first time, you might want to start at week 2, where we specifically go through each one of these steps. But that's all I'm going to say about tonight. This is what it's all about. Let's get into our first trap section of the evening. So traveling and eating out traps. This is something that is a challenge for all of us, especially around the holidays, because you're in different places. You're out of your normal routine. And, you know, all this different variety that's around you when you're eating in different places. It's so much that can derail us. So you got to be prepared once again in order to handle these things as they come up. So the ones we're going to cover tonight are the 24/7 treats, the cleanup crew, which is my personal favorite, the limited food options, the Vegas mindset baby, and the unreasonably strict eating plan.
Okay, so the first one is the 24/7 treat trap. So with this one, you think every meal out should be special, even when you eat out all the time. This is one that I kind of struggle with personally, is when I'm eating out, it is special. I'm eating out. So the idea of eating out doesn't necessarily not have to be special. It's more about the food. You know, when we make it all about the food, that's when we have issues with this one. So instead of focusing on what food can I eat and going crazy whenever we eat out, let's switch our mindset here and focus on what else we can experience when we're eating out, okay? So instead of focusing on the food, what are other things? Let's think, I don't have to cook. I don't have to clean up. Maybe we can go to different restaurants and we can find something new and different. When we go out, I like to people watch. So just watching kids and their families and people being funny or weird or whatever. I think people watching is really fun. So doing that when you go eat out. Maybe, what else do I have here? Celebrating a milestone. If you're going out for a reason, what's that reason? Is there a milestone or an event that you're going out for? So focus on the environment, focus on the event part of it more than the food aspect of it.
Good, I like that one. All right, so as I said, my personal favorite, the cleanup crew trap. So this is when you eat food from other people's plates. Now, if it was literally like the person next to you who don't know well, that would be weird and gross and disgusting. That's not usually when this happens. So again, I'll share a little bit of a personal story here. I sit down to eat with my 4 young children and my husband every single night. I make dinner. And if they have something on their plate that I really, really want, well, when they say, "Mommy, can I be done, please?" and they have a whole lot more to eat, I'll be more likely to say, "Yep, you can go." But if it's something I don't really care about, I'll say, "No, you need to finish your food." Then, you know, the good mom comes out. So I actually take it a little bit further than that. All right, I'm admitting this here. If they have something on their plate they really want, I will create a situation to cause them to want to end early. For instance, let's say that my daughter Kinsey has pizza on her plate and it is not cauliflower crust pizza, and I want it. I may have in my past said to her, "Hey Kinsey, do you want some chocolate cake?" She's like, yeah. And I'll be like, "Oh, but you got to be done eating." She'll go, "I'm done," and push her plate to me. Bingo, I got the pizza. Okay, so this is a really bad trap for a lot of people and for me especially. So a way to combat this, some strategies, and these are some things that I've used myself with my kids. Number one, realize that you can have any food you want at any time. No one's going to stop you. You're not in food jail, although my shirt kind of looks like it tonight. You can have that anytime you want. You just choose not to go there at this time because your goals that you're trying to reach, your advantages list, that's more important to you. That's a big one. You can have it at any time so you don't feel deprived, like I've got to have it right here, right now. Second is create a little more accountability for yourself by creating a hard, fast rule, a red line, so to speak, that you won't cross. So when I sit down with my family and I'm feeling weak that night and I'm liking what they're having, I'll actually verbally say out loud, Mommy is not going to eat any of the food off your plate. Don't let me, because I've got my food right here and this is all that I need. They love it because sometimes I try and push it just to mess with them, and they love the fact that they can help Mommy in her journey as well, and they love pushing me away.
That's awesome. Okay, so the next one is the limited food options trap. So this is where you don't have control over your food while on a trip, okay, or when you go anywhere. You don't have control over what you're going to eat, or even you don't really know what's going to be there. And that's true. So some sabotaging thoughts that we may have around this one could be, it's too hard to find healthy food, or it's the only thing here, it's the only thing available to me, or I'm starving and this is quick. Okay, so that's entirely possible that you get stuck somewhere and junk is all you see. It's the only thing you have there. But think, if you had an allergy, if you couldn't eat at McDonald's because whatever is in their food is something you're allergic to, you wouldn't eat there because you have an allergy. You're going to make it a priority to find something else, okay? So the same thing applies here. Even if you have limited options, if we plan ahead, we can make this work for us. So that's my first suggestion for you, is plan ahead. If you know you're going to be going to a ball game, bring some snacks with you if you think that you can't eat anything there. If you know you're traveling and you're going to be on a plane all day, bring some food with you so you don't have to eat the plain food that they have for you. Bring nuts or seeds or beef jerky or fruit or whatever it is that you want to bring something so that you know you have snacks. So planning ahead, bringing your own snacks, maybe even eating before you go somewhere so that you feel prepared and you have a plan.
All right, so next is the biggest mindset trap. So this is when you say, what I eat on vacation stays on vacation. Okay, I really wish that were true because I took a whole lot more of me back the last vacation. Let me tell you a little bit about what happened to me. So this year, my husband and I celebrated our 10-year wedding anniversary, and we did it in Costa Rica. It was great. All-inclusive resort. Ever been to Costa Rica? Boy, do they have some good food. So I told myself and my husband, I'm just taking the week off. And what happens in vacation stays in vacation. No one's got to know, right? Okay. Just so you know, everyone could tell when I got back. I mean, come on. So what I really was doing when I'm saying yes to all this food is I'm saying no to what's really important to me and to my own self-worth. And a good solution here is, again, a cost analysis, but in a bit of a different way. I call it an advantages versus disadvantages book that's portrayed in the book, is a disadvantages list versus an advantages list. So if you put up the disadvantages for eating whatever I want against the advantages of not eating whatever I want, big mind shift here. So for me, the disadvantage was when I came home from Costa Rica, I was a lot heavier and I had to work to get that weight off that I'd already gotten off. Another disadvantage, I had increased inflammation. My knees hurt and I hadn't felt that pain in a while. That's what happens when you eat sugar. Also had guilt and, you know, the difficulties of falling off track again. And so the advantages to not eating whatever I wanted would have been to enjoy the time and make it not about the food. The advantages would be to not worry or stress about getting on the scale on Monday morning. It would be feeling proud about myself. So once again, cost analysis, I bring that back in time and time again. It's a great strategy, especially for something like this.
Awesome. Okay, so the last one for this section is the unreasonably strict eating plan trap. Okay, so this is where you make eating plans that are too difficult to follow. Okay, so it can be anything. It's too strict. You go out and it's too strict for you to follow. You start actually resenting your plan because it's too strict. You can't follow through. So there's a lot of negative thoughts around this one. I can't do it. I can't follow through. It's too hard because we've made it too hard. So there are some escapes that we have for this one. The first one is to get creative. So if you feel like your plan is too strict, maybe even you're doing the same things over and over again because it's easy and because you know it fits the guidelines, my first tip is to get creative. Find some new recipes. Get excited about something new. Maybe even if you have some favorites, make those favorites something that you can have on your plan. That doesn't mean to go eat all your favorites the way they are, but figure out a way to change them up so that they can work for how you're eating. So that's my first tip, is get creative and plan ahead so that you know what your plan's going to be. So if you go somewhere where you feel like, your rules are strict and it's too hard to follow through, make a plan, know what you can have, and then follow through with that.
Love it. All right. So this is the part where we're going to get a little bit interactive tonight. What were some aha moments that maybe you noticed, things that stood out to you? What resonated with you? What are some things that you would like to incorporate yourself? We're not asking you to unmute yourself. We're asking you to use the little chat button in the bottom. And if you're watching on the recording, you won't be able to see the chat, but I'll verbalize the things that stand out to me. So as you listen to all these different traveling and eating out traps, so things come to mind for you that you're about to experience or going to experience, and maybe some strategies that we gave that would help you. You might come up with something that is going to help someone else. So put it in the chat, and if you don't, I'm going to make a bunch of stuff up.
People are thinking.
Yeah, people are definitely thinking. Aha moments. As you go through the webinar, things will resonate with you. Yeah, I've been there, done that. Yeah, that's a different way I could do it differently. Yes, Jessee, what you said about cleaning up your kids' plate is absolutely something that I do as well. It's okay. That's what we're all here. So Dagmar said that the Vegas trip hit her really hard. Yeah, it's very similar to one of the first traps we ever covered in the holiday eating webinar about the YOLO trap. You only live once. Very similar. And it gets a lot of people because you're thinking, it doesn't matter. It's just one day or it's just one trip. But what is the cost to you? You know, it strengthens your giving in muscle, doesn't build up your resistance muscle. It gets you further away from your goals. So thank you, Dagmar, for being the only person on here willing to speak in the chat. That's awesome. All right. And I'm glad that you'll definitely incorporate it. Don't make it about the food. You're absolutely right. Make it about the trip and the experience being on the beach. I went ziplining with my husband. Those things are still in my memory, but the food is still there too. All right. So let's go. What's up next?
There's a couple more. Do you want to read them?
Nope, you can.
Oh, okay. Well, one from Brant says, getting creative. Love this as well. Or love this as we have used this many times to get creative. Yeah, we've made a lot of favorites into things that we can have on plan. And Linda said, I tend to make my plans too strict. It's all or nothing. That's definitely something we struggle with too. See, they're all coming in now. Look at that. There's another one from Jen. So needing to be creative due to allergies. That's a good one. Okay, thank you guys. All right, so our next thing that we're going to be covering is our Inspiration Corner. And I'm really excited that Abby is going to be joining us. She's going to be sharing a little bit about her story. We got really good feedback last week from Todd sharing his story, so we decided to do this again and have Abby share a little bit about her story. So Abby is a client of mine. She's been doing awesome. She's been rocking it for the last several months. She's lost about 70 pounds so far since July. And the thing that I really love about Abby's story is that she's hit some roadblocks along the way, some bumps in the road, but she hasn't given up. She keeps coming back. She keeps finding hope, and she's finding what's working for her. And so listen to her story. And the thing that I really love is how her mindset has shifted. Okay, she's created a healthy mindset, and she's really focused on the mindset piece of it this time. So listen to that. You'll hear it in her story. So Jessee's going to ask her some questions, and I'm going to give it over to Jessee to get her going. So go ahead, Jessee.
Thank you. All right, Abby, I'm super excited. I don't know if you can see what's already going on in the chat, but people are already reacting to this photo that's up here. Your story is inspirational. So once again, thank you for being willing to come on here, share your heart with us, your struggle, because it's bound to inspire someone right here on the webinar tonight and in the recording for many years to come. So let's dig into this a little bit deeper and hear your story. So when would you say you first started struggling with gaining weight?
Okay, thank you, Jessee. I would say that it started at the age of 18, and I was living abroad. I was studying in Israel, and I was very depressed and in denial about that period of my life, that depression. And I pretty much ate my feelings to numb the pain. And I had struggled with weight gain before, but never dealt with it, dealt with such an extreme amount at one time in such a short period of time. And it turned out my struggles were directly related to an eating disorder, which wasn't diagnosed for several years. So I was 18 years old. And
wow. Okay. So you went abroad is what I heard you say, and you gained a lot of weight. It was out of your, out of your norm, out of your routine, and you came home. What happened when you came home?
So my parents picked me up from the airport, and the astonishment on their faces, they tried to contain their expressions, but I just saw like the looks of disbelief, and it just hurt me so much. They tried their best to mask it, but it was just it was a reality check for me, and it was the first time they had seen me in months. So I realized, I realized I couldn't be in denial anymore, and there was the sad truth that I had gained an exorbitant amount of weight, and I had to do something about it. And I didn't want to necessarily change my life just for me and for my health. I wanted to do it for my family too. I wanted to live, to see my family, to spend time with them, to have a healthy and productive life for myself and for my family as well. So that was.
You had strong motivation to get started, it sounds like. And yeah, I can't imagine coming back and your family seeing you for the first time and looking so different, and how that must have made you feel. That was motivation for you to want to get healthy and be there for your family. So how did you get connected with Coach Mikaela, and what has that relationship meant to your journey?
Okay, so Mikaela, a mutual friend, got us in touch. I wanted anonymity. I live in a very close-knit community, and I didn't want anyone to know me or from where, or my family or where I come from. And I didn't want any judgment. Not that anyone would judge me. It just, that was my, my phobia or my, irrational fear. So someone put me in touch with Mikaela, and she was wonderful. I'm very grateful for the relationship that we have. And the first time I tried the program, I wasn't entirely honest with myself or Mikaela about strictly adhering to this program, and I cheated every so often, and then I wondered why I wasn't seeing results. So I decided that I wanted to drop the program entirely, and I wanted an easy fix, and I considered bariatric surgery. So I said goodbye to Mikaela and the program, and the thing is, she never gave up on me. She texted me constantly every week, every other week, and she tried calling me, reaching out just to see how I was doing, to let me know that she was thinking of me. And it was just so special. And even though I was no longer her client, she reached out, and I'm always going to be grateful for that. And that kind of turned me around and got me back on track and back on with the program. So yes.
Wow. So having that health coach was so key for you. And she never treated you like a client. You're right. She actually really did care about you, and that helped get you back on track. So I'm assuming you started again a second time. Can you tell us about that?
Yes. So I started the program for a second time. In about 4 months and 2 weeks, I've lost close to 70 pounds. I'm almost at the 70-pound mark. It's awesome. I no longer wear fat clothes anymore. I've donated those. I don't have to wear a seatbelt extension, a seatbelt extender on an airplane, which was a huge problem. I avoided flying. I avoided traveling for the longest time because I didn't want to have to deal with, having to sit and someone else, infringe on someone else's space and have to get an extension of a seatbelt. That's just so embarrassing and just frustrating. And it was horrible. And now I feel lighter. I don't get breathless when I walk or when I run. I just feel all around so much better. And I just feel so much more optimistic about my health and my future. So yes.
I love that, Abby. So Abby, was there any one thing that was really difficult for you to keep up when you first, or the second time you started your program?
I would say it was very hard to change my habits. I was so caught up in, I had created habits without even realizing it, such horrible eating habits, and it wasn't something that I had control over at that point. And then when I got on program, the first time it was difficult because I was trying to create new habits, but I really wasn't sticking to it. So that was a huge challenge. And then when I let's say quit the program and then restarted, I just changed my whole mindset and attitude. And I realized, if I wanted to see results, I had to be on board 100%. And that's what I did. I changed everything around, and my habits are completely different and totally healthy. And I've just changed for the better in so many respects, not just with food, but just my overall mindset in general. So it's a completely different.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've got the perspective now. You've got the perspective of when you first started and gave up, what it feels like to start again and be where you're at right now. You're not at your goal, but you are at a racehorse pace to get there. You're doing great. You're on fire and you're loving it now. And so what I want to ask you, Abby, if you could give one piece of advice to anyone who listens to this or on here tonight about getting started on their journey, what would that be?
I would say you have to be honest to yourself and to your coach, but again, most importantly to yourself. If you're not honest with yourself, who are you fooling? You're only, and who are you hurting? You're hurting yourself alone. So you have to just be honest. And if I can do it, anybody can do it. It's attainable for anyone. So just go for it and just believe in yourself. So.
I love that. Believe in yourself, be honest with yourself. I love that. So thank you, Abby, for coming on, sharing your story. It's going to help so many people. And Abby's going to stay on for the debrief time also. So if you want to ask some specific questions of her, I'm sure she would love to answer those. I'm going to go ahead and mute you again, Abby. Thank you so much. What's up next for us, Coach Mikaela?
That was awesome, Abby. Thank you so much for sharing. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to be talking about is psychological traps. So for anybody who has ever dealt with struggling with their weight, dieting, trying to lose weight, any of these sort of weight-related issues, we've all dealt with psychological traps. Okay, this is the mindset stuff that we deal with around trying to get healthy. There's a lot of negative feelings that come with these traps, anything from feeling deprived or discouraged or unmotivated or even burdened by constantly trying to focus on eating healthy and trying to reach our goals. So there's 5 that we're going to be talking about specifically: the discouragement trap, the deprivation, feeling overburdened, the no willpower, and the I don't care trap.
All right, so first, the discouragement trap. This is when you want to give up when dieting becomes difficult. Once again, personal story. I've lost 174 pounds since 2015. But you know what? Life happens. I had some stress happen. I responded with emotional eating. So my weight went up and I got discouraged. I know exactly what it feels like to be in that place. Once you're in that place of discouragement, more sabotaging thoughts come in. Things like, I don't know if I can keep up with this program. Things are just too hard right now. I think maybe I'll wait. So a good response to that from the book is, while losing weight sometimes feels difficult, the results will be worth it. Go ahead and click it for me, Mick. The advantages on my list are too important to give up on, no matter what I may think or feel at any given time. I like this response card because what it does, it creates your focus to shift. And so it gets you out of your own head, out of your current state of discouragement. When you think about your advantages list, put it in perspective. Emotions, they're fickle. They change. Discouragement never lasts. Of course, if you keep staying in the discouragement trap, it gets harder and harder to get out of. So when you put yourself first, when you put your goals first, are you willing to put yourself first and your goals first? That alone, if you can answer yes to that question, will encourage you.
That's a good one. Okay, so the next one is the deprivation trap. This is a really big one. A lot of people struggle with this one. This one is where you feel resentful for having to restrict what you eat, okay? So there's a lot of sabotaging thoughts around this one. Anything from, I don't get to eat my favorites, or everyone else can eat whatever they want, or I can only eat boring, plain, healthy foods, maybe the same things over and over again, or no one else has to watch what they eat like I do. So these are all negative sabotaging thoughts that we have around depriving ourselves, okay? So there's a couple strategies that I have for you. The first one is a practical one, and it's something that I said with an earlier trap, is to get creative. If you're feeling deprived, if you're feeling like I don't get this and other people do and woe is me, it's kind of a woe is me trap. My first tip is to get creative so that you don't feel deprived. Find some of your favorites and make them work for your plan. So find new ways of having some of your favorites. Find new recipes. Get excited about something else other than the plain, boring things that you eat over and over again. That's the first tip. The second one is not so much a practical one as more of a mindset one, okay? So change your mindset around feeling deprived. There's a question that they ask in the book. It's a really good question. They say, what would be a bigger deprivation to you, okay? So either way, you're going to feel deprived. So which one is going to be worse? Either not getting some of the foods that you want sometimes, or to deprive yourself of everything on your advantages list, including creating guilt and low self-esteem. So the idea here is you're going to feel deprived either way. Either you can feel deprived for 5 minutes and not eat that food that you wanted, or we can feel deprived by not reaching our goals, not ever reaching those top 10 things that we really want, not reaching our goal weight and our goals and getting active and wearing a swimsuit in public or fitting in an airplane seat or whatever those goals are that we have, which one's bigger? Which one can we choose? Deprive ourselves for 5 minutes over food or deprive ourselves of the things we really, really want? I think that's all I wanted to share. Go ahead, Jess.
I love that. That was good. All right. So next is the feeling overburdened trap. All right. So this is when you get tired of focusing on and putting effort into weight loss. And once again, as I shared earlier, I have a big weight loss story. And so I've been overweight my entire life. And when you've always struggled with weight and you've gained it so many times and put it back on and all that, it's a burden. You feel overburdened and you'll get to a point where I just can't do this anymore. And there's something that creates a little mind shift here, a little perspective for you. You're going to be burdened no matter what. Okay, so you're going to be burdened if you're striving to reach your health goals. That's a burden. Or you're going to be burdened because you are getting further and further into obesity and further into unhealth and more pain and not feeling good about yourself. Either way, there's going to be a burden. So here's the neat thing, though. When you choose health in time, there's many positive benefits. And it doesn't feel like such a burden. So it's only a burden when you're first getting started. But as you get going, you experience the positive benefits of becoming healthy, then it's not a burden. So the way to get out of this is really to choose health. So eating healthy, yeah, it can be hard, especially at first. Being overweight is also hard. So choose your hard.
I love that statement. That's a really powerful statement. Okay, so the next one is the no willpower trap. So with this one, you believe that you cannot resist overeating. So you go somewhere and the temptations are overwhelming. Okay, there's a lot of food everywhere. It's being forced on you. Everyone's eating, whatever it may be. A lot of sabotaging thoughts that we have around this one are, I can't do it. There's too much food here. I can't stay on plan. I'm not going to be able to do it. Might as well give in. Okay, so this is some negative self-talk that we have going here. So there's something that I wanted to read from the book. There's a really good statement that the book said. It's on page 189 if you wanted to follow along. So listen to this. This is really good. I said, giving in is always a result of being overwhelmed by sabotaging thinking, not because the situation is truly unmanageable. There's two things going on here. So listen again. Giving in is always a result of being overwhelmed by sabotaging thinking. Okay, so our sabotaging thoughts are what give us to give in. That's what happens. It's not that the situation is truly unmanageable. It's not the situation. If we have a plan, we can handle the situation. It's the fact that our sabotaging thoughts overwhelm us. We're not prepared to handle our sabotaging thoughts. That is why we give in, okay? So we have a couple escapes for this one. The first one is eating is never automatic, okay? It's always possible to exert willpower, meaning food doesn't just fly into your mouth without your knowledge, right? You're the one that puts it there. You always have willpower to say no. So this is a mindset shift here as well. The second one is check what kind of language you are using with yourself. If we go in there with that negative self-talk, I can't do this, I can't stick to it, it's too hard, I'm gonna cave, then you're telling your future, you're what's the term? I forgot the term there. You're foreseeing your future. That's not the term. Anyway, the idea is that you're telling yourself what's going to happen. You're going in somewhere saying, this is what's going to happen. I can't stick to it. I might as well give up. If you can, there you go. Self-fulfilling prophecy, I think is what it is. The idea though, is that if you can talk to yourself, if you can say, I can do this. I have a plan. I can stick to it. I know what I'm going to do. I know what I'm going to eat. My goals are that important to me that I'm going to choose my goals over this food. If you go in there with positive self-talk, it changes our mindset around what's important. So that's the biggest thing here, is changing our mindset around what's important.
That was really good. And I love the fact how you got stuck and they jumped right in the chat to help you.
Thanks,
saying, I did notice that. All right, so the next one is and the last one, actually, I believe for the evening, is the I don't care trap. This is when momentary feelings of apathy sap your motivation. Okay, so this happens, it can come in waves. For me, it's associated with an unexpected craving. So for me, another story again. My family loves to go to Hometown Buffet. In fact, my husband took the kids there tonight, so it will be quiet in the house. And I have no problem going to Hometown Buffet. It's a great place for us to eat as a family, lots of variety for all our children who have all different wants. And I can have my salad, I can eat my lean protein, I can be good. What gets me sometimes with this trap is when I go to help my kids at the dessert bar and I see something that I really want, I can identify it now, but I can hear it. I'll say, I don't care. And it doesn't matter. I just say, I don't care. I want it. I don't care. So a really good response to this, because that simply isn't true, I do care, is the next time I think I'm going to eat this because I don't care, remind myself that while it's true, I may not care right in that moment, I absolutely will care later on. So I can't let this one moment of not caring dictate my actions. And I love that. And I'm going to end it on that because that's really strong. Don't let your emotions and your cravings, which are fickle, dictate how you're going to live your life. Be in control of yourself, value yourself, have worth in yourself and towards your goals. So, Coach Mikaela, you want to do some aha stuff?
Yeah, so we'd love some more interaction this time around. Aha moments that you've heard for psychological traps. I know we all deal with something with the mindset. So anything that you learned, any new skills, you do care. I love that, Dagmar. Anything that stood out to you, like, oh, I could try that. That's a good idea. Or, oh, I never saw it in that light. Anything that kind of jumped out that you'd like to share. Don't go to hometown buffet. Nice. It's funny. Dagmar said, I'm tired of falling into the I don't care trap. Okay, good. Assessing your deprivation. Nice. That's a good one. Anything else stood out to you? Yeah, the deprivation one is a big one. A lot of us feel deprived from time to time. And so addressing that, being able to identify it and address it is really important. Speaking positive to myself. Yes, I talk a lot with my clients about positive self-talk because it's not helpful. I used this example a couple webinars ago, but we wouldn't talk to a friend that way. If a friend was having a hard day or they fell off their program or whatever, we wouldn't beat them up. We wouldn't, belittle them and yell at them, and that's not going to help them. Instead, we're going to encourage them and support them and speak positively to them because that's what they need. So that's what we need. That's what we need to do ourselves. We need to be my own friend. Nice. I like the escape trap for I don't care. Okay, that's a good one. The escape plan. Treat myself kindly. Okay, good. Yay, I love that you guys are getting things out of this. So that's a good one. So I know we're out of time. Let's talk about what is coming up next week.
All right, so for next week, looking forward, it's week 6. It's actually our final webinar series, not including the debrief in January, where we're going to come back and re-talk to some people. It's going to be a great time. But we're going to go over getting off track traps. And look at this, people. We're going to go over how to stay free of traps for life. Does that intrigue you? Because it does me. So this is next Thursday, right before Christmas, same time, 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We hope you'll join us. You'll get a lot out of this, so much more if you attend live. And if you're watching the recording, thank you for joining us. We're going to go ahead and stop the recording now. Bye.